Congressional reaction to the strike and the Trump administration's broader Middle East strategy. We've got Democrat Congresswoman from Michigan, Elissa Slotkin. She serves on the House Armed Services and Homeland Security committees. She's also a former CIA analyst who's worked at the White House under both Presidents W. Bush and Barack Obama. She has also served multiple tours in Iraq. Congresswoman, you're the ideal, perfect guest for us to have on this topic today. Hoping to lean some on your, not only your political thoughts here, but on your expertise based on your experience in military and in the intelligence community. I want to first get your reaction to the news about these missile strikes near the U.S. Embassy inside the Green Zone. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I think it was fairly predictable. I served 3 tours in Iraq, and it was unfortunately a regular part of life that we would have Shia militias shooting off Iranian-provided missiles and rockets. I think after the strikes that have gone on the past couple of days, most people thought that the easiest thing that we could see happen in terms of retaliation is that those same Shia militias start shooting rockets and missiles at our bases and areas where we operate, and we've seen it. So that was the simplest reaction for them. I can imagine seeing more in the future, but I don't think Iran actually just responds in a very traditional, symmetric way. They'll come up with other ways to retaliate for what's gone on in the past few days.
Well, the numbers, right, definitely aren't on their side in the sense that most military analysts tell us that Iran isn't capable of taking on, going toe-to-toe with the U.S. military in any kind of a ground war. So that option's kind of off the table.
Yeah, so they're creative. I mean, that's one of the hallmarks of the Iranians is they may not respond immediately, but they will respond. And I think it's been part of the conversation in years past, both under Presidents Bush and under Obama, why getting into a conflict with Iran was something that we were trying to avoid, because they don't respond the way we do, sort of symmetrically, let's go force on force. They come up with these really dangerous, sort of shadowy ways of responding that we can't predict always.
Now, tomorrow, Iraq's convening this emergency session of parliament. All signs point to they're going to have some kind of a vote to expel U.S. troops from the country. There's about 5,000 of them in Iraq now. What's your take on that?
Well, listen, I think that what the activities that have gone on in the past couple of weeks from the American side have violated the agreement that we had with Iraqis, which was we're going to come and put troops back in your country, and we're going to focus on ISIS. We're going to focus on terrorists and getting rid of those terrorists from your country. That's what we have authorization to do, both from the Iraqis and from here in Congress. And so when we've changed the mission in the past couple of weeks and gone after Shia militia leaders, gone after Iranians on their soil, the Iraqis are rightfully concerned about a real shift in the relationship. I would not be surprised, although I think it's a real problem strategically, but I would not be surprised if in the next couple of days they vote to kick us out. And that is ceding the country to Iran.
You say that the U.S. changed the mission. Yeah. Presumably, you're saying the Trump administration violated the terms of our agreement by murdering Soleimani, but there was an attack on the American embassy in Baghdad. That certainly constitutes a violation of the agreement, the security agreement that the United States has with Iraq. That came first.
Well, listen, we always have the right to self-defense. And I think the contractor, the American contractor who lost his life, and some other service members who were injured because of a rocket attack, we will always reserve the right for self-defense. But the decision to go after Mr. Soleimani was a much bigger decision than to go after some guys who are organized a very localized attack. It was a decision to go after a very senior leader, the equivalent to a 4-star
attack, but on the American embassy inside Baghdad that most people are in agreement was sponsored by was at least, whether explicitly or implicitly, supported by Iran's regime. That's,
sure.
Some folks would say that constitutes an act of war in and of itself.
You could say that. I would say anyone who served in Iraq knows that we've faced, frankly, far worse in our time there. And again, it's not like other administrations, both the Bush administration and the Obama administration, hadn't thought about going after Mr. Soleimani and hadn't thought about what a deeply problematic organization his Quds Force constituted. But it was always kind of, is the juice worth the squeeze? What does it do to start, potentially a protracted war with Iran? And is it worth it to us? And I think that that calculus was different for the Trump administration.
But what is the alternative? Is that, if the United States only steps back in fear about escalating a situation, what does that really buy us? It seems that we're making Americans less safe in the region. We're making Muslims less safe in the region. For every 100 Americans that Soleimani killed, there were thousands of Muslims in the region that died.
Yeah, I just think that this has been going on for a long time. This is a long game. There's a very shadowy war that's been going on for many, many years, kind of under the radar for many, many people. But when you're talking about taking out a commander, you have just got to have had some sort of strategic conversation on what comes next. And I hope very much that the administration has had that really thorough review. I hope very much they're going to share their strategy with Congress, because it's going to be the sons and daughters here in all of our states and all of our districts who are going to be sent to that region to fight in that war. So he has a responsibility to say, yes, I know that this is an escalation, but I was willing to do it because of X, Y, and Z. And that's what he hasn't yet provided, at least to Congress.
All right. Well, Congresswoman, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We'll have you back soon. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
You bet. Be sure to watch